So, hello everyone, and I am going to be reading a little part of this book called The Buddha, an alternative narrative of his life and teaching. This is part 2, and this is the book. And here goes. The Noble Truths. The legend holds that after his enlightenment, the Buddha passed through Varanasi on his way to the deer park on the outskirts of Isipatna, presently modern Saranath. There he met with 5 bhikshus, his former companions during the time of his ascetic practice. Weeks back, on seeing him giving up the practice and consume food, they had left him in disgust, thinking that he had reverted to a life of comfort and self indulgence. Now, when they see him approaching them, they are quite alarmed but decide to ignore him since they feel he has betrayed their cause. However, when the Buddha gets closer, the bhikshus see a radiant glow emanating from his body and a compassionate smile on his face. They forget themselves and run toward to greet him. Before long, we find the bhikshus sitting at the feet of the Buddha, eager and ready to receive this teaching. And the Buddha speaks thus: Monks, there are 2 extremes: a life given to pleasures, which is sensual and unskillful, and a life given to mortifications, which is painful and unskillful. By avoiding these 2 extremes, monks, the Tathagata has gained the knowledge of the middle way, which leads to insight, to wisdom, to nirvana. What, monks, is this middle way? It is the Noble Eightfold Path, namely the right views, right intent, right speech, right conduct, right means of livelihood, right endeavors, right mindfulness, and right meditation. The noble truth of dukkha is this: birth is suffering, aging is suffering, sickness is suffering, lamentation, pain, grief, and despair are suffering. Association with the unpleasant is suffering. Disassociation from the pleasant is suffering. Not to get what one wants is suffering. In brief, the 5 aggregates of attachment are suffering. The noble truth of the origin of dukkha is this: it is this thirst, craving for sense pleasures, thirst for existence and becoming, which produces sorrow. The noble truth of the cessation of dukkha is this: it is the complete cessation of this very thirst, detaching oneself from it, giving it up, emancipating oneself from it. The Pali texts have arranged the first sermon in such a way that the essence of the Buddha's teaching is covered brilliantly in his first talk to the 5 bhikshus, even though the Buddha could never have preached in the form that we find today. There is doubtless the work of the canonical scribes. Nevertheless, even in this traditional conflated representation, what is most interesting is to note the Buddha begins with a feeling and an experience rather than an idea. He makes fact of the pain and suffering the basis of his teaching. He does not talk of God, good and evil, the meaning and purpose of life, nor does he promise salvation. There is suffering and there is an end to the suffering, because he knows it is possible, because he has found freedom from suffering. Further, there are no good and evil actions. There are skillful actions that lead one to the path of liberation and unskillful actions that bind one to the life of suffering. Is there a God? Is there a meaning and purpose to life? Is there life beyond death? Well, once you end suffering, you will find the answers, or the questions will have become irrelevant. You will know.